The morning sun rose softly over the edge of a quiet meadow. Dewdrops sparkled on the leaves, and the air smelled of new beginnings. On one of the smallest leaves rested a tiny caterpillar named Lina. Lina had always been curious about the sky, the wind, and the colourful creatures that danced above her. She would spend hours watching the butterflies flutter through the air, their wings painting streaks of colour across the blue canvas of the sky. Every time she saw them, something stirred inside her. "I wish I could fly like them," she whispered. But then she looked at her little body, slow, green, and ordinary. How could something like me ever become something like that? She thought with a sigh. Lina's world was small, just the branches of a low bush and a few flowers nearby. Every day she would crawl, eat, rest, and repeat. It was safe. It was predictable. One day, while she was munching on a fresh leaf, an old butterfly with faded wings landed beside her. "You seem thoughtful, little one," the butterfly said kindly. Lina hesitated. "I was just wondering what it's like to fly." The butterfly smiled. "Ah, that's a beautiful dream. But remember, flight isn't a gift. It's something you earn." "What do you mean?" asked Lina. "To fly, you must be willing to change, and change is never easy." Before Lina could ask more, the old butterfly flew away, leaving her with a question that echoed in her tiny heart. "Am I ready to change?" Days turned into weeks. The weather began to cool, and the once green meadow started wearing shades of gold and orange. Lina noticed something happening inside her. She wasn't as hungry as before. Her body felt heavy, tired, and strange. She didn't understand what was happening, and it scared her. "Why do I feel so weak?" she cried. A wise old grasshopper nearby heard her. "Don't be afraid, young one. Sometimes, when life pushes you into discomfort, it's preparing you for transformation." But Lina didn't want discomfort. She didn't want to stop being herself. "I just want to feel normal again," she whispered. Yet deep inside, a quiet voice said, "Trust the process." One morning, Lina's instincts told her to climb. So she did, higher than she had ever gone before. Her small legs trembled as she reached the top of a sturdy branch. Then, without knowing why, she began to spin silky threads around herself. It felt strange, isolating, and dark. Slowly, she became wrapped inside her own little cocoon. The warmth of the sun faded. Time became blurry. There was no more crawling, no more leaves, no more voices. Just silence. Inside the cocoon, Lina began to change. Her old body was dissolving, reshaping, rebuilding. It was painful, sometimes unbearable. She felt like she was losing herself completely. "Why is this happening to me?" she cried in the darkness. But there was no reply. Only her own heartbeat, reminding her she was still alive. And in that darkness, she realized something powerful. Growth doesn't always look beautiful. Sometimes it feels like breaking. Days passed, or maybe weeks. Lina couldn't tell, but one morning, a spark of warmth touched her cocoon. The air felt lighter, and something inside her whispered, "It's time." With every bit of strength she had, she began to push. The walls that once protected her now resisted her, but she kept trying. The more she struggled, the more cracks appeared. Finally, the cocoon tore open. A soft breeze kissed her face, and light flooded in. Lina gasped for air, trembling and weak. At first, she didn't recognize herself. Her body was different. Delicate wings clung to her back, still wet and fragile. She waited, unsure of what to do. The sun's warmth slowly dried her wings, and for the first time, she spread them wide. Golden, blue, beautiful. Lina had become a butterfly. She looked at the world from her new height, tears of wonder in her tiny eyes. "All that pain, it was worth it," she whispered. Her first flight was clumsy. She stumbled, fell, and fluttered awkwardly. But with every try, she grew stronger. The wind that once felt distant was now her companion. The flowers she used to crawl on now reached up to greet her. She soared higher, laughter bursting from her heart. She wasn't the same creature anymore. She had become everything she once dreamed of. One day, as she rested on a petal, a little caterpillar looked up at her in awe. "I wish I could be like you," the caterpillar said. Lina smiled gently. "You already can. But first, you must be brave enough to change." As days passed, Lina realized something deeper. The world was full of caterpillars, people afraid to leave their comfort zone. They feared the dark cocoon moments of life, heartbreak, loss, struggle, failure, not realizing those very moments were the beginning of transformation. Change was never meant to destroy them. It was meant to reveal their wings. Lina spent the rest of her days flying across the meadow, sharing her story with every little creature that would listen. "Don't be afraid of endings," she would say. "They're just disguised beginnings." Whenever she looked at the setting sun, she remembered the time she spent in darkness and how that darkness gave her light. Like Lina, we all go through seasons of change. We lose people. We lose jobs. We lose parts of ourselves we thought we couldn't live without. And in those moments, we feel trapped, like nothing will ever make sense again. But if you hold on, if you trust the process, life has a way of reshaping you into something stronger, wiser, and more beautiful than before. Sometimes you must stop being who you were to become who you are meant to be. So, if you are going through pain right now, remember the butterfly. Your wings are forming in silence. And one day, you'll fly higher than you ever imagined. Change is not the enemy, fear is. The struggle you face today is shaping you for the strength you'll need tomorrow. Like the butterfly, transformation begins the moment you stop resisting and start trusting.